We have breaking news. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is urging the international community to put maximum pressure on Russia after it ended the week-long energy truce. Zelenskyy says Moscow fired hundreds of drones and missiles into Ukraine overnight in a major attack on the country's critical energy infrastructure. They say the attack injured at least 9 people and left 1 million residents without heat on one of the coldest days of the winter. The attack marks the largest strike reported by the Ukrainian Air Force this year. Now Zelenskyy and the Secretary General of NATO are holding a news briefing about that attack in Kyiv. ABC's Patrick Reevell is there with the latest. Patrick, what are they saying about this attack?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, Russia overnight launched a huge attack on Ukraine's energy system involving well over 500 drones and missiles, and it has knocked out heating for well over 1 million people during the coldest period of the winter that we have seen so far. Temperatures are around -20 Celsius, about -4 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, Russia targeting thermal power stations. Those are the ones that are specifically used to provide heating, not just electricity, that can also be used by the military. President Zelenskyy saying that a record number of ballistic missiles were used, and obviously these strikes make a mockery of that supposed week-long energy ceasefire that President Trump had said he had agreed with President Putin just 4 days ago.
Patrick, President Trump's much touted one-week pause in strikes lasted barely 4 days. What does that say about Trump and Putin's relationship and Trump's efforts to end this war?
Yeah, Diane, I mean, I think clearly Russia has violated the spirit of this agreement not to strike Ukrainian energy infrastructure that President Trump said he had agreed with Vladimir Putin last week. He announced that this had been agreed last Thursday. It's clearly already been less than a week. The Kremlin had always suggested the ceasefire would only last till Sunday in any case. And I think really what this shows is that essentially the ceasefire has been meaningless. Vladimir Putin usually needs about a week in any case to stockpile the missiles that are needed to carry out an attack like this. And what we're seeing is President Trump had said that Putin had agreed not to launch attacks during this particularly cold period in Ukraine. Instead, what we have are attacks during the coldest period of the winter so far in Ukraine. I think really also what it shows is what we hear often in Ukraine is that when Putin agrees to these sorts of short-term ceasefires, it's really much more about saying to President Trump, look, I'm interested in peace, rather than anything actually meaningful, Diane.
All right, Patrick Reevell in Kyiv for us. Thank you.